Well, here we are again. I'm a bonehead and I pulled the Camaro over here and I totally forgot to pull the flywheel out. About 3 inches shorter. We're in the new side of the building. We're not supposed to work on cars over here. However, I don't really have a choice because I'm a bonehead and I pulled the Camaro over here and I totally forgot to pull the flywheel out. So in our last video, we worked on this car. We put the bell housing back in and we did the hub-centric kind of, what do you call it? Measuring of the bell housing for the Tremec transmission. Well, I left the bell housing on and I didn't take the clutch out, or the flywheel out. So we got to get under this thing, pull the bell housing, pull the clutch. I keep saying clutch. Pull the flywheel out because I'm going to the machine shop tomorrow to check on the 350 we dropped off for the C10. So I definitely want to get that done because that's here. That's all that's left really, because if I remember here in the shop, yes, we have the new clutch. I've never really used a zoom clutch. See, I pulled the disc out to make sure it fit the input shaft. I have a phobia about that. I have never used a zoom clutch, but supposedly they're pretty good, so we'll check it out. That's the only clutch I could get before the middle of May, and I've got to be on power tour in the middle of June, so I just don't trust it. I want to get this thing out. I want to check out the tunnel ram. I want to get some miles on this thing, get that clutch broken in. So maybe at one of the stops during power tour, we can do some drag racing, right? All right, El Cochino, I need the freaking light down here.
Yeah, I was trying to get it close to your eye if you were looking, you know?
I know, to blind me.
Yeah, you know.
Oh God, this is gonna suck on this floor. All right, do me a favor and take the jack out. I really don't want it to fall on my face. Oh God, they're so heavy. So success. Take that off to the machine shop. That looks like a billet flywheel too. That'd be a nice one. Thanks for no help.
I'm just here.
Well, it's been a week since I pulled the flywheel out. Went to Motor Parts machine shop. They machined it while we waited. So that was pretty cool. It was 50 bucks, no big deal. Now we have to install the flywheel, the clutch, the pressure plate, and the bell housing and perform the measurements for the hydraulic clutch throwout bearing clearances. All right, so this is right where we left off. You see, it's all clean. Didn't have to even clean up in there. This motor is a few years old, but it's never really had any street miles on it. We still haven't pulled the clutch linkage out. We'll get to that because we got to install the hydraulic slave cylinder and all that. So I guess we're ready. Well, we gotta find some Loctite for the bolts for the flywheel and get the flywheel bolted in. So we'll get into that and go from there. Now this thing has a monster flywheel in it. So that's There she goes.
Need a sledgehammer? Or
No.
not sledge,
Alright, so what do you got?
So I got some thread locker to put on each bolt for safety. Just need a little dot.
Boop. A little bit more than that, down at the end.
Oh yeah.
Just a bit.
Yeah, man.
Tilt it. There you go.
There we go.
Boop. Alright. It's like magic. Alright, so you're gonna have to hold the flywheel.
Alright.
So I'm gonna be torquing that way. So you're gonna need to pull this way. So just hold that, don't pull super hard. You're just trying to keep the motor from spinning. Around the cleaning, the surface there. All right. Smells delicious. Good. That thing was dirty. All right, flywheel is in, ready for the clutch. What is it?
It's a clutch.
But what is it?
Clutch.
Like what name?
That's the Zoom Performance Clutch Set.
Oh yeah. Don't touch the disc with your hands.
Up too late.
All right, so this is all we could find. We looked everywhere online. We couldn't wait till the end of May with power toward looming. So a Zoom Performance Clutch is all we could get. 26 spline, 10.5 for GM. People say they're good. I've never used one. We're about to find out. Here's the critical part. Right here in the directions, it shows you measuring the depth from the fingers of the pressure plate out to the bell housing transmission mounting surface. So it says you need a cushion between 1/8 and 3/8 inches from, they're calling it the CSC, which I don't know what the CSC means. I don't know. Oh, they're calling that the combined slave cylinder. This thingy. This thingy right here. Well, when I ordered mine, I knew we were doing this, so I had them install that on the transmission already. So basically, we're checking the cushioning of that, is what it sounds like. You're gonna get directions when you do it, so. Here we have your slave cylinder. Basically what you're doing is measuring the depth of the clutch fingers to the mating surface of the flywheel. I don't have anything to do that with, because what you're looking for is you need this to not be bottomed out and your clutch fingers still being depressed. That'll cause your clutch to slip. You got like a 1/2 inch plus 1/8 to play with here to set your adjustment. So I'm gonna use this, make a little mark, and then I'll measure it with a ruler. All right, so I don't even have a straight edge. I can't find anything around here. So I'm just gonna put this picture frame across here, and then I'm going to put this in towards the clutch fingers. Like so. Now I know I just need to measure that distance, and that's my dimension X. I get 2 5/8. So I have 2 5/8 in my dimension X. So following our trusty directions, we're measuring from the front of the transmission case to the front of the bearing when it's fully collapsed. So basically the dimension from here to there. Does it fit or is it too big?
Nah, it fits a little small.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I need to read it. 2.63 is what we got that time. So let's put the math into the paper, into the thing here. So your depth X minus the compressed bearing height Y is your bearing cushion.
So
the cushion should be at least 1/8, 0.125, and no more than 3/8, 0.375. So we need to do some math. 2.63 minus 2.40 equals 0.23. And we're allowed to have between 0.125 and 0.3. We're perfect. It's perfect. Sweet.
finally.
Oh, that was painful. You need to do yourself a favor and have a machinist straight edge instead of the crap we're using, but it looks like we're good. All right, well, that was a nightmare. I hate my transmission jack, but we've got the 5-speed installed. We've got the cross member installed. Plenty of room everywhere. Didn't have to cut or beat nothing. The TKX fits in the 2nd gen Camaro just fine. Now we need to measure for our drive shaft. We're gonna measure from the machined aluminum surface on the back of the transmission to the center line of the rear yoke. So we're gonna take that measurement now. It's been a long day. Okay, so clutch in this car has always been really stiff and kind of iffy as far as where it's going to release, and every once in a while the transmission should get locked up between 2nd and 3rd. Well, when I was removing all the 4-speed parts, the Z-bar and stuff, found everything's completely worn out, but the ball stud that screws into the motor to support the shaft, the bushings weren't on the ball stud, and this was about to fall out of the motor. I turned it like 3 times and it came out. There's bushings in there, see that? But they're supposed to be on this. So this thing had all kinds of play and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Next step, since we've got all the 4-speed linkage out, Z-bar, we're trying to get the clutch pedal rod out. We've disconnected it from the pedal, but if you look up inside here, way up in there, that rubber boot is actually bolted to the firewall and it's holding our clutch rod right there. So we're gonna have to get up there and figure out a way to get that off of there. The next step is to mount this on the firewall. So when you, obviously you've got a backing plate for the inside of the firewall. This goes on the outside of the firewall. So when you get down under the dash, you don't want to be confused. So just put an arrow on this right here. That's up. That way, when you get under the dash to drill your 3 holes, you know you got them in the right spot. Get rid of that. So, and it's not really up. This plane right here, this vertical is straight, because it's some kind of weird triangle thingy. So just keep that in mind when you get inside there. They say that this rod right here has to go straight into the master. So to do that, I had to space it out on the bolt with the supplied spacer right here. I think you can see that. That puts this perfectly straight into the center of that hole. And then I took my little bracket we talked about earlier and I held it up there, marked my holes. There's a little place right here in the steering column support that fits into perfectly. And I got my 3 holes marked. Whew. the directions say you can use this little bracket here and pick up 2 of your master cylinder bolts in the back and mount. That was a nightmare the first time. I'm not taking those apart. There's nowhere to mount it here, but out here, right over here, I found, if I can get the hose under the steering column, found a spot right here where this can be mounted, and the directions say it can be mounted directly to the firewall. So our slave cylinder reservoir is going to be mounted right there with some tech screws. Okay, pivotal day here. I don't think I've ever had a brand new drive shaft in my whole life. Here is the factory Z28 drive shaft next to the PST built drive shaft for the TKX for the Camaro. It's about 3 inches shorter from end to end. Also, we've got the big 1350 U-joints at the front versus the stock ones. We already upgraded to 1350 in the back when we did the rear end. But this should be much stronger. It's much thicker. Guaranteed to be true, correct, and balanced, and it was shipped to me in less than 4 days, so pretty impressed with that. Are you back crawling?
Yep.
You crawling with your shoulder blades?
Yep.
You're such a dork. All right, I'm not gonna film the struggle that's about to happen here.
What struggle?
Okay, what size is it? It's none of the sizes you said it was.
It's not a 1/2 inch?
No.
Where's the nut?
on the thing.
No, give me the nut and the 1/2 inch wrench. I know it's a 1/2 inch.
I don't know which one's half inch.
Oh, I lied. It's a 960.
Oh.
It's heavy. It's hot. Get back first. Oh god, it's hot. Oh my god. Let go. Ow. Holy crap, I think it burnt me.
I've been in the sun too long.
Let's do the engine on test. Too loud?
Too loud.
Alright. If it's too loud, you're too old. So, exhaust.
Don't.
Exhaust and road test. Look where you're going. Inaugural road trip. Let's see how this goes. It's idling about 1500, but again, we haven't locked out the distributor yet. Shifter is in a totally different place.
Tractor.
Oh. Wow, that's crazy quiet, isn't it? We quit smoking, so that's good too.
Yeah, burned all that crap out the exhaust.
Vibration, do you?
No.
Sweet.
How fast you going?
80.
55.
It's feeling so much recommendation, you know?
I love how quiet it is.
So if you followed along from start to finish, you can see that wasn't that difficult. Just take your time, go nice and slow. We finished it up, took the car on Hot Rod Power Tour. We had a few minor problems, but everything was related to the install. We ended up being able to park at the Silver Sport booth at more than one venue, which was pretty cool for people to check out the car and see the new shifter and all that. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next adventure.